In the last classes, we have seen the contents, what we are going to discuss in our course. And even we discussed the programming concepts in the last class. So in the programming concepts, we discussed about what is the meaning of program, the meaning of comments, keywords, variables, data types, and how to declare a variable, declaration of variable, and the concept of method or function, and very important, return type. However, I'm going to discuss all these concepts once again when we go with Java basics. Today, the objective is we are going to introduce about Java introduction. Today, we are going to start with Java introduction, and even we are going to discuss Java features. Java introduction. So before we see what is this Java, let me ask one small question. Whenever we are developing software applications, we are having two approaches to develop the software applications. We are having two approaches to develop software applications. One is structured approach and one more is object-oriented approach. Can anyone take examples of structured programming? Which programming languages follows structured approach? Any idea?
C.
C++.
C language, Pascal, COBOL, all older languages are structured. Examples of object-oriented?
Java.
C++.
Yeah, Java, C++, Python, .NET, all these are what? Object-oriented. So Java comes under as object-oriented programming language. So you can say like Java is an object-oriented programming language. Java is what? It's an object-oriented programming language developed by James Gosling. Developed by James Gosling at Sun Microsystems, where it has been developed at Sun Microsystems. Now, this Sun Microsystems is acquired by Oracle Corporation. Sun Microsystems is acquired by whom? Oracle Corporation, and it was done in 2010. So now onwards we should say Java is a product of Oracle. Now, since Java is object-oriented programming language, before we enter into Java, we should have a basic idea on object-oriented concepts. Today, let us see about what are these object-oriented concepts. So Java is what type of programming language? Remember, it is object-oriented programming language. And before we enter into Java, we should have a basic idea on object-oriented concepts so that entering into Java will be easy for us. So we are having totally 6 important object-oriented concepts. They are objects, class, abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. So these are the 6 important object-oriented concepts. We can even say features. In order to enter into Java, we should have a basic idea. Okay, we should have a basic idea what is object, what is class. We should have what? A basic idea what is object and what is class. Now, let us go with what is an object and what is class. And once we enter into object-oriented programming in Java, we are going to discuss all these features once again in detail. Today, the objective is we'll try to understand these two terms. Let us go with object initially. How to define an object is like any real-time entity. Any real-time entity, we can call it as object, which has some features. For example, if you consider a laptop, before you want to purchase a laptop, what features do you check? What do you check before you purchase laptop?
Hardware specifications.
Right, hardware specifications like
RAM, storage.
right, RAM capacity, SSD capacity, the processor, graphic card, the screen size, color, price, make, model, all those things we are going to check. If you are able to give at least one property, we can call it as an object. How to define an object is like an object is a real-time entity which has identity, state, and behavior. Which has what? Identity, state, and behavior. Let us understand more in detail what is the meaning of identity, state, and behavior. Let me elaborate with a diagram. So we are trying to understand more about what is an object. Let me consider an object like a car. Let me consider a car here, like item car. When you take this car, how to identify a car uniquely? By using the registration number. So that we call ID. When you take a car, it's going to have a state. The meaning of state is like the properties what we see in the car. The properties what we see in the car, like example, we can check for make, model, color, price, capacity like this. So it can be seating capacity, fuel capacity, and you can even say like engine type, petrol or diesel, like that. So the properties, whatever we see, that we call it as state. This state, we can even call it as data members. The terminologies are important today. This state, even we call it as data members. Data members are variables, or properties, or fields, or attributes. Different people use different terminologies. Different people use different terminologies. I'm giving all the terminologies over here. Then, for an object, it goes with behavior. The meaning of behavior is like the actions what we perform. The actions what we perform on an object. So in this case, what we perform on this car, we can drive the car. We can drive. We can change gear. We can apply brake. We can reverse. We can stop like this. The actions, whatever we perform, that we call it as what here? Behavior. This behavior, we can even call it as methods or functions. That's the reason we have ended with parenthesis here. So when you end with parenthesis, that we call it as a method or function. So this behavior, we can even call it as what here? Method or function or operation. What is an object? It's a real-time entity which has identity, state, and behavior. So clear with this diagram? Any questions?
Raj, like I understand in terms of car, the identity, but suppose we talk about cloud, then what is the identity like? How do we see it like that? Or trees?
So simple words to say identity is like the variable name what you are giving to your object. Simple. Okay, the names what we give to the object, no, that we call identity. Variable name, simple words to say. Okay.
Thanks.
Now, the next term here is class. At the end, I'll go with one more good example to make you elaborate about what is object, what is class again. Now, how to define a class is like a class is a collection of data members and methods. What makes a class? It's a collection of data members and methods. Means the state of your object will act as data members, the behavior will act as methods. Like example, how to create a class in Java is by using a keyword class. By using a keyword class, we can create a class. And we go with the name of the class, like example, person. Class name. Here we go with the data members. Like for a person, what we go with the age of the person. We can go with the name of the person. We can go with the height of the person. When you say name, age, when you take age, in age we store a numeric value without any decimal point. Then we call it as what here? Integer. So last class we discussed about this data types, right? That only I'm using here. So more on this we'll discuss once again when we go with the basics. Then name, we go with collection of characters which we call string. Then height, we go with the numeric value with the decimal point which we call float. So these are your data members. Then methods. Methods like a person can walk with some code inside. We are not worried about coding part today. A person can eat with some code inside. So what makes a class? A class is a collection of data members and methods. Once you create a class, outside of class means after this curly braces, if you try to give value to age directly, this will go with error. If you try to give value to age directly, what it's going to happen? It goes with error. Means we cannot access these members outside of class directly. Then how to access these members is, this is the main important point. What we require to enter into Java, the point is the members of the class. When you say members, it can be your data members or it can be your methods. The members of the class are accessed using objects with dot operator. If I want to access these members outside of class, what we have to do, we can access using objects with the dot operator. Now, how to create objects here? Creating objects programmatically. How to create objects is, the syntax is, what is the meaning of syntax? The rules of language. The syntax is, we go with the class name, then object name equal to new class name. Like example, what is the name of the class here? Person. So we have to take a person. P equal to new person. So in this, P is an object of class person. Now using this object with the dot operator like this, P dot age, we can give value to age. P dot name, we can give value to name. Since name is of type string, the value should go in double quotes. P dot height, some height. P.walk, we can call the method. P.eat, like this. So the important point for today's class is, once you create a class with some data members and methods, if I want to access these members outside of class, what we have to create? Object. Using object with the data operator, we can access. So this is the main point what I require in order to enter into Java. So we are not worried about how to create class, all those things. We are worried about if there is a class given to us, how to access that members. This is the initial point what we require to enter into Java. Once we enter into Java, once we start off with object-oriented, there we will be learning how to create our own classes, how to create objects, how to access all those things. We will be learning when we enter into object-oriented. For initially, to enter into Java, this is the point what we require. Anyone having any questions up to here?
So the value we set, like p.age, it can be anything. Can we also set other data type, or data type can we set?
Only age. Age we have taken it as integer, no? That's the reason we have to provide integer value only. If I try to give something like 20.5, it will go with error.
But we can also give a -2, na? It will also be integer.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I can even go with -2 also. That is a problem. So for that reason only, they have given the concept called as encapsulation. How to secure our data. Encapsulation. Once we go with object oriented, now your query will be resolved. Okay. Right. So I cannot store whatever the data I want into this. I want to protect this member. How to give protection, all those things we'll be understanding when we come to this topic, encapsulation. Got it now?
Yes, thank you.
Right. Now, even though we discussed what is object, what is class, still we may be having some confusion how to identify object and class. For that, let me take one small scenario. Let me take one small scenario to understand how to identify an object and class. So let us suppose a client come to us. Who is client? A person or a company who is giving requirement to us to develop a software product. Now, when the client comes and gives the requirement and we want to develop that product using object oriented. So that concept is we want to identify objects and classes. Let me take the scenario, a small scenario, like example, Mr. XXX teaches Java at RRR Technologies. PPP attends Java sessions. Mrs. XXX teaches Python at the same company. QQQ attends Python sessions. Now, this is the small scenario. From this scenario, we have to identify the objects. How to identify the objects is, we have to take the nouns here. The English grammar word noun. So we have to take the nouns here. So what are the objects here? Starting from beginning.
Mr. XXX.
Right, Mr. XXX. Next, after XXX.
Java.
Very good. Java. Next, RRR. After
RRR
RRR.
technology.
Yeah.
PPP.
PPP. Then.
Then on second line Python.
Yeah, before that Mrs. XXX.
Yeah,
Mrs. XXX. Then
okay.
Python.
Python.
Finally QQQ, right?
Okay.
So these are the objects here. Once we identify these objects, our next step is we have to categorize these objects. We need to categorize. So how to categorize, like if you consider Mr. XXX and Mrs. XXX. So what is the role these two people are playing here? What these two people we call? What they are doing? Teaching, right? The people who teach, we call them as teacher or professor or faculty like that. So let me go with the name faculty. Next, Java and Python. What these are here? Subjects. So we call them as codes. Let me call it as codes here. RRR, it's a company or institute. PPP and QQQ, these are our student. These are our what? Student here. So these four names what we got. These four names what we got, we call them as classes. We can even define a class like a class is a collection of related objects. What makes a class? It's a collection of what? Related objects. Right? So the real existing things are your objects. The generic names what we use, they are our classes. So if you take our scenario, myself Raj. Raj is an object of class faculty. You people like Aman, Siranjeevi, you all people, Kranti, Vishal, you all people are what? Object of which class? Student. If you consider our scenario. The real existing things are objects. The generic names what we are using, they are classes. Clear these two terms, all of you? Any questions? Now, let us move to the next part here. Java features. We are in some of the important features of Java. Let us discuss one by one. Java is simple. Why we call Java is simple here? Because if you consider CR C++, if you take CR C++, we are having a concept like arrays. We are having arrays. So what is the use of arrays? It is used to collect the elements. Once we collect the elements, we want to sort the elements. The meaning of sorting is arranging elements in either ascending order or descending order. Arranging elements in either ascending or descending order. That is called as sorting. So in order to do the sorting in CR C++, we need to write around 10 to 15 lines of code. But in Java, we can use this predefined class arrays with a method sort. To this, we need to pass just the array name. That's it. Where n is our array name. So just if you call this single line, it is going to sort the elements present in this array. So in that way, Java code is becoming simple. So why we say Java is simple here is, Java is simple as it contains lots of APIs. Means application programming interfaces. Even we call it as libraries. We call them as libraries. Means already existing code. We call it as library. As the days goes on, even I'll be elaborating more how to work with API, and even I'll be giving assignments to you where you need to browse API to complete the task. The next feature is Java is object oriented. Already we know. So Java is object oriented. OO, even we call OO, as it supports all the OO features like objects, classes, abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. This is very, very important, and this will go for 5 classes for us to complete. Very important. If you are good with this object-oriented, understanding remaining topics of Java will be easy for us. The next is Java is robust. What is robust? Anyone? What is the synonym of robust? Robust means strong. Robust means what? Strong. Let me go with an example. Let us suppose you are typing a document in Microsoft Word. After typing the document, we want to print the document. When we issue the print command, let us suppose the printer is not connected to your system. Then what is going to happen? What Microsoft is going to do? Will it display a message that printer not connected, or will it close? What is going to happen? Will it close the application, or it's going to display message printer not connected?
Printer not connected.
Printer not connected means Microsoft Word is robust. Means if any abnormal situation occurs, like example printer not connected, the application should give proper message to the user what went wrong. Should not close the applications automatically. Such type of applications we call robust applications. So in Java also we can develop robust applications. In Java we can develop robust applications using exception handling, which avoids the abnormal termination of program. So what are the application we are writing? To avoid that abnormal termination, we make use of exception handling. This is also very, very important topic to us. Next one. Java is portable. Java is portable. Now, if you consider C or C++, if you are not having any idea, don't worry at all. What is size of integer data type? Any idea? How much memory it is going to occupy for integer data type in C or C++?
4 bytes. 4 bytes.
4 bytes, right? Yeah. So it can be 2 bytes on 32-bit operating system or 4 bytes on 64-bit operating system. So if you take 32-bit, it's going to occupy 2 bytes of memory. If it is 64-bit, 4 bytes of memory. Now, if you write a C language program on 32-bit, and if I take the same program to 64-bit, then we have to go back to the code and do some changes, because there may be some memory issues, because the size is differing based on your operating system. That's the reason we say C and C++ are not highly portable. Coming to Java, the size of integer data type is, it is same 4 bytes on 32-bit or 64-bit. So whatever the operating system it may be, the size remains same. That's the reason we say Java is what? Portable. Shifting of program will be easy for us when we go with Java. So what is this point? Java is portable since the size of the respective data types is same on all platforms, means operating systems. When we come to basics, we'll be seeing what data types are present in Java and what are their sizes. Next one. Java is secure. Java is what here? Secure. Now, so before we go to the secure, again, let us understand about C or C++. If no idea, don't worry. In C or C++, we are having a concept like a pointer. Let me define. A pointer is a variable which contains the address of another variable. What is pointer? It's a variable which contains address of another variable. Let me go with an example. If you take int n equal to 10, now I want to take the address of n. How to take address and n? If you say and n, it's going to give address of n variable. This address we want to store it into some other variable. Then we have to declare like this. int, we use star p like this. We use a symbol like this in C language. Star. Star indicates it's a pointer. So this pointer holds address of n. See here. Let me elaborate using diagram. If you take here n variable, this is our n variable whose value is 10. Let me assume the address of this n is some 100. This is address of n. Now what I want to do, I want to take this address. So when you say p equal to and n, we are going to have a pointer variable which points to this address. So this p is pointing to this address. Now by using this pointer, I can go to this address and we can even change the value. Using pointer, I can go to the address and even we can change the value. So this is the main drawback to us. That is, when you are having a pointer, when you are having address in hand, when pointer points to some address, using that pointer, I can go to any address and do some changes. Or even I can even corrupt that memory also. That is the reason C and C++ are used for virus or antivirus applications. We can develop using C and C++, we can develop virus or antivirus applications. Whereas coming to Java, Java is for business applications. Java is not for system programming, it's for business applications. That's the reason Java people decided to not to have these pointers in Java because pointers violate security. Because by using pointer, I can go to any memory and corrupt also. So what is the point to remember? In Java, no pointers. That's the final point to remember. Java is secure as Java does not support pointers. As pointers violate security. Simple words, final conclusion, what to remember? In Java, no pointers. No pointers. That's the final point to remember. Clear up to here? Anyone having any questions? No. The next feature is Java is multi-threaded. Java is what here? Multi-threaded. Now, what is multitasking? We discussed in first demo, opening multiple applications. Like we can open Microsoft Word, we are typing some document and listening to the sound simultaneously. That is multitasking. In my case, I've opened Paint, Notepad, GoToMeeting like that. So this is multitasking. Then what is a thread is like? What is a thread is like? If you take Gmail, like an example, how many compose windows we can open in Gmail? Multiple. We can open multiple compose windows. Every compose window what we open, this is our compose messages. This compose window what we open, they are our threads. They are what? Threads. So these threads are part of a task. So if you consider Gmail as a task, so threads are part of one task. Since we are able to open multiple compose messages, multi-threads, that's the reason Gmail is multi-threaded. Then when you go with attachments, how many attachments we can do? Multiple. When first attachment is going on, I can even attach second, third like that. And when attachments are going on, I can even type the subject and body of the message because attachments are also threads here. Attachment 1 is a thread, attachment 2 is also a thread like this. What is the benefit we get? Performance. I need not wait, one thing should get completed. So in the olden days, if you consider like Rediff mail, in olden days, now it is multi-threaded, but in olden days, when you take Rediff mail, when I open one compose message, until I close it, until I send, I cannot do one more. And when I attach one file, until I attach first file, I cannot attach second. There is a wait state. But in Gmail, there is no wait state. That's the reason Gmail has become more popular, right? So even Yahoo also, it is multi-threaded. Hotmail also multi-threaded. Nowadays, all mail applications are multi-threaded, right? And if you consider one more example, GoToMeeting. This is our class GoToMeeting. That is also multi-threaded because I can show my screen, I can speak with you, I can record the class, all the things I'm able to do simultaneously. So how to define? A thread is a lightweight process under execution within a process. If you take Gmail as process, the lightweight process are like compose messages, attachments. And what is the advantage? Multi-threading is used to increase the performance of application. So this is also one more very, very important topic to us, which we discuss under core part. So anyone having any questions up to here? The next one. Java is automatic garbage collection. Java is what? Automatic garbage collection. Means in Java, our work is only to allocate memory. Destruction of memory is taken care by Java. That feature only we call automatic garbage collection. So more on this we'll discuss in future once again. One more good feature we are having, that is Java is distributed. Java is distributed. So what is the meaning of distributed? Is distributed applications are used for the purpose of exchanging data from one application to another application. Application to application interaction only we call distributed. So in the olden days, we used to develop distributed applications using RMI, remote method invocation, and after that we got EJB, Enterprise Java Beans. Now we are using what? Spring. Now we are using Spring. That too in Spring we use REST APIs. So we make use of REST APIs to develop these distributed applications. Like simple example, if you consider Amazon, in Amazon we add the products to the cart. Once we add the products to the cart, we want to go with payment process. So what are the different ways of doing payment? Like we can use net banking, credit card, debit card, UPI payments. We can use different payment options. For example, if I choose net banking, in that if I go with Axis Bank, so from Amazon, you are communicating with Axis Bank. So this all payment process comes under distributed. Application to application, that only we call distributed. One application will be running in one server and one more application will be running in another server. Simple examples nowadays, we develop a Spring Boot application and we develop Angular application, but both applications will be running on different servers. So they have to communicate to exchange data. This communication we call distributed applications. Clear this word distributed, all of you? So what features we have discussed?
Raj, so in real world, every communication is distributed, I assume.
Right. Nowadays, all are distributed applications only.
Okay, because we are simply exchanging information between one application.
Right, right. So what features we have discussed? So Java is simple, object-oriented, robust, portable, secure, multi-threaded, automatic garbage collection, and distributed. Pairing one more good feature, Java is platform independent. Java is what? Platform independent. Means if you write a Java program on one operating system, we can run it on any other operating system. So what is this? A Java program can run on any platform. Means any operating system. We can even say like a Java program is write once, run anywhere. Or people call it as or. Write the program on one system, you can run it on any other system. Like example, if you write a Java program on Windows, I can run it on Linux or Mac. That feature only we call platform independent. So more on this feature, what is this platform independent? I'm going to discuss in tomorrow's class. So before we go with how to develop Java application, so before that we should understand more on what is this platform independent. So tomorrow's class, I'm going to elaborate more on what is this platform independent. After that, we'll be seeing how to download and install Java on our operating system and how to develop a Java application at command prompt. So these topics we are going to discuss in tomorrow's class. Right? So any questions, anyone? I think almost all of you have sent the test mail to me. Kranti, please send a test mail to rajonlinejava@gmail.com. This is my email ID for communication. So please send a test mail to this email ID so that I can take care of sending documents and recordings of our class. Once we complete the class, within 2 hours, after completion of class, within 2 hours, you are going to get the notes recordings. Right? Please make a note of this. So let me stop for today, and tomorrow we go with more on platform independent and how to work with Java. First application we are going to develop. Right. Thank you all. Thank you very much.